Hello, and welcome to the third episode of the Basketball Podcast. My name is Jackson Bombach, and we're going to get straight into it. Season starts tomorrow. A lot of things to be excited for. First game tomorrow we got is the Lakers versus the Nuggets. We're going to start off with the Lakers squad this year. It's a little bit different from last year. They did a lot of changes. So it's going to be interesting how they play together. They got D'Angelo Russell, Jared Vanderbilt, Anthony Davis, Cam Reddish, Gabe Vincent, Jackson Hayes, Max Christie, Torian Prince, Austin Reeves, LeBron, Rui Hachimura, and Christian Wood. The Nuggets have Christian Braun, Justin Holiday, Michael Porter Jr., KCP, DeAndre Jordan, Reggie Jackson, Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, and Colin Gillespie. It's going to be a very interesting game. We saw these teams play against each other in the Western Conference Finals last year. Nuggets took that series 4-0, even though the Lakers had high hopes. It's also going to be very interesting how LeBron's going to be playing this year and going into his 21st season. He's the oldest player in the league right now, especially after the retirement of Andre Iguodala and Udonis Haslem. But I want to start off with talking about who I think is going to have a really good year this year from each of the squad. Let's start off with the Lakers. I think Rui Hachimura is going to have a big year. We saw last year in the playoffs how his production went increasingly up. He came in clutch at different times, scored efficiently. He's a very big body. He stands like 6'7". Rui Hachimura is 6'8", with a wingspan of 7'2". I mean, dude has a great defensive tool set with his size, his length, and how active he is on the defensive side. Last year, his playoff performance is definitely going to make his minutes go up. I don't know if his points will massively increase. He's not really like a score first kind of guy. They have a lot of people on this team that can score. But his utility as a defender and all-around team player will definitely help the team, especially since this is almost a whole brand new roster. He's one of the returning players. D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Davis, Austin Reed, LeBron, and him were like really the only guys who played like all of last year. Jared Vanderbilt joined late. And a lot of these other guys are brand new, like Gabe Vincent, Jackson Hayes, Max Christie's young, Torian Prince is new, Christian Wood's new, so he's one of the returners from last season. So I definitely think he's gonna have a really nice year. He's a very good player who limits turnovers. He makes the right play. He has really good spacing. He fits really well with Anthony Davis. I think he's able to get to the rim. Especially around Anthony Davis, he can stretch out a little bit. Allows Anthony Davis to stretch out a little bit as well, considering he's also a bigger dude. He can get some boards. But I really like this Lakers roster this year. It's been very interesting how they pull everything together. And then the next player from the Nuggets, who I think is going to have a nice year, is Michael Porter Jr. I mean, we saw that this is like this year or last year was the first year he was fully healthy, able to play as many games as possible. I understand that he's a black hole. He shoots. Yeah, he shoots a lot. Like if he touches the ball, he's gonna shoot it. He doesn't really pass. He shoots the ball at a 41% last year. I mean, why should he pass if he's gonna make 41% of the shots? He has Jokic and Murray, KCP and Reggie Jackson. They all handle the ball. I mean, they're all kind of. Jokic is a pass first player. Murray's kind of in between. KCP is just a team player, and Reggie Jackson is definitely a pass first guard. So, I mean, I don't really see how or why he should have to pass. But I get the point. They're not very much different team from last year. It's hard to make a breakout player. I just think that this season for him is going to be consistent. Since, like I said, last year he played 62 games, which is the most for him. So because the previous year before that he got hurt and he only played 9. Last year he averaged around 16. I could see that maybe going up to around 18, 19. I think his efficiencies will go up. But yeah, Michael Porter Jr. should have a really nice year again. I mean, that's to be expected with them. Because, I mean, on the Nuggets, you got Christian Braun. Oh, like I said, I already said everybody on there. Why am I doing that? And another player who I thought was really interesting that they have Colin Gillespie. I don't know if y'all watched college basketball a couple years ago. He played at Villanova. Kind of an older he played all 4 years. He averaged 15.6 points his senior year, shooting 40% from 3 at Villanova. I know he's hurt right now, but he's definitely like a Christian Braun type player. So I could definitely see him having a successful career with them. It's a nice little pickup for them. He's on a 2-way contract right now. So, I mean, because they lost Bruce Brown, they need that little backup. I mean, Christian Braun can probably fill that, but Colin Gillespie will definitely be a nice fit for them. All right, we're going to compare the last year's Lakers squad to this year. Last year they had, I'm just going down Basketball Reference. This is what they had down right here. It's Mo Bamba, Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverley, Sterling Brown, Troy Brown Jr., Thomas Bryant, Max Christie, Anthony Davis, Rui Hachimura, LeBron, Kendrick Nunn, Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, Dennis Schroeder, Tristan Thompson, Juan Toscano Anderson, Jared Vanderbilt, Lonnie Walker, and Russell Westbrook. I think their team this year is a little bit more complete. Like, if we've been watching in the preseason, Jackson Hayes has been a really, really good piece for this squad. Because, I mean, they had Mo Bamba last year, but Jackson Hayes is so much more athletic and so much more versatile. Jackson Hayes plays a little bit more physical than Mo Bamba. I mean, Thomas Bryant kind of did that last year, but Jackson Hayes is a little bit younger. He's got a little bit higher motor. They added Jared Vanderbilt was like the greatest thing they picked up. He's a defensive genius. I mean, that dude can guard the 1 through the 5. They picked up Cam Reddish. He's looked pretty decent so far in the preseason. So I'm very curious about how he's going to turn out for them. He's probably just going to turn into a 3-and-D type player. I mean, that's what happens when you play with LeBron. Gabe Vincent is kind of the one that's kind of questionable for me. Since I think keeping Dennis Schroeder to me was probably what they should have done. He played such a big role, and he's just a very good player. And we saw how he played in the World Cup. I mean, that dude, he was MVP. I mean, they won the whole thing. He's so talented. I just don't understand. Dave Vincent's very talented too. It's just Dennis Schroeder's got a little bit better defensive motor. Gabe Vincent's more of just a shooter. Taurean Prince is a nice little rotational piece. He's kind of filling that spot of, I don't even know. They didn't have anything like that last year. I mean, they had they had so many guards last year. I mean, they had Westbrook, Lonnie Walker, Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverley. They lost a lot of guards. Kendrick Nunn. So I like that they went a little bit bigger. They're a little bit bigger this year. To me, they're a little bit more complete. And Christian Wood was, in my opinion, one of their better pickups. He's a lot like Anthony Davis, but I hope he plays a little bit more inside out rather than, I think Anthony Davis this year is going to probably be playing outside in. So Christian Wood's probably going to be picking up that 5 while Anthony Davis plays that 4. So it'll be very interesting, the Lakers. I think that, I mean, again, the Lakers always come down to this. it always rides on Anthony Davis's health. I mean, we saw they won a championship in the bubble. I don't care what anybody says. The bubble's a ring. It ain't no fraud. Every team that played in the bubble last year, or every team that played last year in the conference finals, the East and the West, were both the same from the bubble. It doesn't matter. It was a real ring. So Anthony Davis being healthy is very, very important to the Lakers this year. They could be contenders, but we're just gonna have to see. I mean, they really have to step up their game and be that defensive team that really won them that year, that 2020. I mean, they were incredibly defensive that year. They played great defense. I don't see LeBron like stepping down. I get he's in season 21, but last year he averaged 29, 7, 8.5 a game and played 55 games. I mean, nobody's doing that in their 21st season. So why would he stop now? I mean, especially since Bronny could classify for the draft next year, and then, I mean, I don't know if anybody saw that commercial, but LeBron's like, oh, I want to play with Bryce as well. So, I mean, why would he slow down? I just don't see it. I mean, maybe not as much of a nice stat line as he does, but I could definitely see his assists going back up to what they were a couple years ago. Last year, he kind of took on a scoring role. They really struggled with putting the ball in the basket last year. So I could definitely see him turning into almost the point guard that we saw in years past. And then I'm going over to the Nuggets again. I don't know. The Nuggets, they're probably just going to have a very similar season from last year. The West is it's kind of interesting this year. There's a couple strong teams, but it's not like the East is really stacked right now. But I think a lot of the West is really young. They literally kept almost the same entire team, minus Bruce Brown. They didn't hardly change much, so I doubt that they will change again. I don't know if they'll be like a 1 seed. I'm not sure. They're gonna play good in the playoffs because they have so much depth. Going over to Nikola Jokic, I don't see him winning an MVP this year. I get Embiid won it last year, but voter fatigue is such a big thing in the NBA. I mean, if you look at LeBron, LeBron has LeBron has 4 MVPs. And you could say that he's been named All-Star 19 times, All-NBA 19 times, 13 first-team selections. He probably could have won more than 4. The voter fatigue's a thing, so, I mean, it's obviously going to be handed out. Not sure who's going to win it this year. Tatum's probably going to be in the running. If the Mavericks can actually compete and get their stuff together, Luka could be in the running. But Luka's efficiency needs to go up. So, yeah, I don't see Jokic winning it this year again. I mean, he could have another great year, but voter fatigue's real. So, I also don't understand. He doesn't put really a whole lot of work in the offseason. It's kind of interesting to me. I mean, you see all the jokes about how, NBA is his side job and how horse racing is his main job. I mean, I just don't understand how that works. I guess he's a freak of nature. I mean, sure, but in my opinion, you got to be staying up and working to be able to compete at this high of a level. I don't know how I feel about that. It's not really my type of thing. Doesn't really, I don't know. It doesn't make me feel right. I could definitely see that this year. I could honestly see him going a little bit down. If I were playing him, I'd front him. I mean, he's not like athletic enough to be. You need a front and have help side defense. I just don't see him like. You just got to keep the ball out of his hands. I mean, he works the best with the ball in his hands. So, limiting how much he has the ball will definitely limit how much the Nuggets can do offensively. But then I guess you have Jamal Murray and then, whatever. But Jamal Murray's kind of a streaky player. Don't get me wrong, he was fabulous in the playoffs last year, but regular season he's more of a streaky type player. But who I think is going to win this game? I think the Nuggets are going to win. They kept almost the same team. Lakers all have almost a brand new team. And LeBron is 7-13 on opening night. He doesn't have the best record on opening night. So I could see him struggling. They have a whole brand new squad. The Nuggets are very polished. So I definitely see the Nuggets winning that game. But I think we'll see definitely some highlights from the Lakers about what they could do for the rest of the season. All right, we're going to move on to the Suns versus Warriors game. That's also happening tomorrow night. I'm going to start with the Suns, who the Suns have. Suns have Devin Booker, Josh Okogie, Bradley Beal, Grayson Allen, Damian Lee, Bol Bol, Drew Eubanks, Yuta Watanabe, Keita Bates Diop, Eric Gordon, Nasir Little, Yusuf Nurkic, and Kevin Durant. The Warriors have Gary Payton II, Jonathan Kuminga, Corey Joseph, Chris Paul, Moses Moody, Kevon Looney, Klay Thompson, Dario Saric, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, Stephen Curry, and Rudy Gay. I'm going to start out with who I also think is going to have a breakout year. That's how I'm going to start both of these. From the Suns, I think Yuta Watanabe is going to have a better year. Last year, he averaged 5.6 points with a 49% field goal percentage and 44% from three. So a very interesting thing from the Suns team is that you see three first option scorers on this team. You see KD, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker. They're going to do their thing. The big thing for this squad is going to be figuring out how they can space the floor. Because they're definitely going to have to start Drew Eubanks or Yusuf Nurkic to have some paint presence, because KD and Bradley Beal and Devin Booker are all outside in type players. I mean, they want to score first from the outside, move it in. They're definitely all type of mid-range scorers. So I mean, somebody like Yuta Watanabe, who shoots so efficiently from three, should have more options to be able to shoot the ball. I think his shots won't go up. Maybe his points won't go up, but you'll definitely see an impact from players like him, Grayson Allen, Damian Lee. I mean, even Eric Gordon. So, I mean, like all those guys that can like shoot the ball, space the floor for these guys, get open shots. Because, I mean, who are you going to double team? Kevin Durant or Yuta Watanabe? I'm going to probably double team Kevin Durant. No offense. But he's just a higher level player. But that also releases some of the pressure off of him to create for these other players like Yuta Watanabe. So he should be open a little bit more. I could definitely see them start leaning on these role players to bail them out in bad situations. I mean, like, let's say they do their move. Get out of here, you fucking idiot. Do their move and sorry, my roommate. Do their move and then pull up and then kick out. I mean, definitely should have good shots. And then we're going to move on to Jonathan Kuminga for the Warriors. Last year, he averaged just under 10 points per game. Played about 20 minutes. Shooting splits are around 52 from the field. Very high percent. 37 from three. And what I've seen from this preseason, it's been very interesting for him. Very, very impressive. I mean, this dude's a walking bucket. He averages around 25 in preseason. And his free throw percentage from last year improved around 5 to 6%. So I could definitely see him having a really, really nice year. He's a very, very talented player. He's 21 years old, 6'7". I mean, this dude should have a good year, if you think about it. I mean, the Warriors stars, they're getting older. I mean, you could see Klay Thompson's getting old. Stephen Curry's getting old. Draymond Green's getting old. Chris Paul's getting old. I mean, even Andrew Wiggins is getting a little old. So I could definitely see Jonathan Kuminga taking a bigger role, being more of a scorer. So he'll definitely have a really, really nice year. They also lost Jordan Poole, so they're gonna have to have somebody step up and take the other option of scoring, like Jordan Poole did last year. The Chris Paul signing from the Warriors is definitely interesting. I watched some of their preseason games. He doesn't look bad. They don't look bad. I mean, they're the Warriors. They have a great, great offensive program. Their spacing is amazing. They're always going to be an offensive powerhouse, especially with Steph Curry around it. Honestly, in my opinion, this is going to take a lot of stress off Stephen Curry. I mean, we see how insanely good Stephen Curry is off the ball. I mean, that dude just runs around, gets open, shoots it. So he's definitely going to be more of a shooting guard this year. It's going to be interesting how they start their lineup. I think Chris Paul and Stephen Curry are both going to start, right? Now, are they going to do Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green? Are they going to do Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, Kevin Looney? I don't know. Jonathan Kuminga is definitely going to be coming off the bench. But I don't know. I don't know how they're going to start this season. Have they released that? Did they release? Oh, okay. So they're going Chris Paul, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, and Draymond Green. Interesting. Wow. No size. Yeah, they're gonna struggle. But I guess that's why you have Kevon Looney coming off the bench, and he's a rebounding genius. Even though he's not the biggest dude, he just gets boards. But no, I definitely see Curry's efficiency going up. I mean, he's gonna definitely be limiting turnovers. He's not gonna be probably not gonna be as much of a point guard per se, and probably more of a shooting guard. But I mean, his off-ball movement's so good, anyways. So that'll definitely help Chris Paul and Stephen Curry. I just don't know how much that's gonna help the whole team around them. I mean, they don't really have anything else to prove. They won a championship in 2022. So what is there to prove? They did it. They can do it again. The Suns this year, however, have almost everything to prove. They're very almost top heavy. You could see that in their big three. So you're gonna have to see how the rotation is and how they're gonna have to find a way to have everybody contribute in the team. I wonder if they have their Suns starting lineup. Oh, they do. They're going Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Josh Okogie, Kevin Durant, Yusuf Nurkic. I like that squad. I like Josh Okogie. Very, very good defensive piece. And you got Grayson Allen and Yuta Watanabe and Drew Eubanks coming off the bench. Yeah, they actually have a really good team. So yeah, they have so much to prove. I mean, it's almost an entirely new team. In my opinion, Bradley Beal is gonna have to show us what he can do. He's no longer the first option at a god awful team, so he's gonna have to step up and show what he can do as a contributor. And he's not the first option. In my opinion, I'm taking Kevin Durant and Devin Booker as a first option over Bradley Beal. I get Bradley Beal's a bucket, he can score, but Kevin Durant and Devin Booker are a little bit more complete of a player. But in my opinion, I think the Suns will win this game. They're going to have to find someone to get hot on opening night. If it's Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, or Devin Booker. I mean, the Warriors just don't have enough defensive pieces to hold the three of these guys. And not even the three of these guys. They don't have enough offense to outscore them. I don't care if it's played in the Bay, even though you know how good the Warriors play in the Bay. I think Curry will have a good game. because he's going to be able to play off the ball. I think Chris Paul's going to have to... He's definitely going to struggle early on since it's kind of a new team. He played in preseason. He looked a little... I don't know. He looked a little interesting. It's definitely a new thing for him. But he's a nice fit. Honestly, I didn't think he'd be that good of a fit, but he kind of complements Curry. Just going to see how he complements the rest of their team. And then we're just seeing again how good of a plug-and-play player Kevin Durant is. He's just the best plug-and-play player in my opinion. He's literally played for I don't know how many teams, just got on there and contributed so much to almost every team. So, I mean, he almost took the Nets to the finals, won some rings at the Warriors. The Suns The Suns are going to get probably deep this year. They went deep last year. He's just a great plug-and-play player, in my opinion, the best ever to do it. So I really think the Suns are going to win this game. So, moving on, we're going to talk about some news. Kevin Porter Jr., if you haven't heard, got traded to the Thunder. The Rockets traded Kevin Porter Jr. to the Thunder. The Thunder immediately waved him off, so he's not actually currently rostered. The Thunder received 2 future second-round picks out of this, and the Rockets got Victor Oladipo and Jeremiah Robinson-Earl. I think the Rockets did a good thing, getting some value out of KPJ before he may have been getting in trouble for strangling his girlfriend, if you didn't hear. But now, I mean, there's some talks that it was not actually true what happened, but still, it's kind of a touchy thing. Hard to get some fan backing for when your players do things like this. So just any value out of him is decent. And honestly, they play better without him, in my opinion. KPJ and Jalen Green are not really a good fit. He does require the ball in his hands, and a lot of these guys on the Rockets require the ball in their hands to be able to contribute. I do like Victor Oladipo going there again. He was an explosive guard before he got injured. He was. They're very deep in explosive guards, so I think it's a very good veteran pickup for them. Maybe it's not like the full value they could have gotten out of 2 second-round picks, but they did what they could. And the Thunder, I just don't understand. Sam Presti, he's a scam artist. He's probably going to go down as one of the greatest GMs to ever do it. He just squeezes draft capital out of everybody. Over the next 7 years, they have 15 first-round picks. They have more than 2 picks in every single first round for the next 7 years. And they have 22 second-round draft picks. This is absurd. And they did this to rebuild the franchise, but they already are considered one of the best young cores, if not the best young cores in the league. So the rebuild is already in motion, and now they have 37 draft picks for the next 7 years. That's over 5 draft picks over the next 7 years. In my opinion, this is an absolute amazing situation to be in as a GM. You can be extremely aggressive, especially in trades. If you need somebody, you have stuff to give up. And you can make some bad offers look real good with some picks. He's just an incredible mind. What he's done for the Thunder organization. They have Chet, Shea, Jalen Williams, Josh Giddey. Lou Dort. Those are all incredible young pieces for any team, but they're all on the same team, and then they have more draft picks to come, an incredible amount to come. It's just crazy. So Thunder, they're starting a dynasty here. It's really, really close. I'm gonna talk about the Spurs, my team. We're talking about their starting lineup was released. So it's very interesting, actually. So our point guard is going to be Jeremy Sohan. If you don't know who that is, he's not a point guard, actually. So this is going to be very interesting. He's 6'8". We drafted him last year as a power forward. But I'm going to explain why this will not be a bad thing. This could definitely be the best thing for him, since I think the one thing in his game that he's lacking the most is some playmaking abilities and handling the ball. Especially, last year. His defensive tool set is amazing. He can guard the 1 through the 5. Physical player. He's very good at actually limiting turnovers. He's just not very creative with the ball, if that makes sense. I could just see how some spacing struggles might come, since he's going to have to be running the point. I'm not sure if he's going to be running like true point. I don't think so. But I think this is a very good decision to help him develop. Considering we have Trey Jones coming off the bench, one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best backup point guards in the league right now, behind probably his brother, Malcolm Brogdon, as like true point guards. So yeah, I really like that. Our shooting guard is going to be Devin Vassell. He's got a big extension. He's got a lot to prove. Very, very talented 3-and-D type player. 6'5" with a big wingspan. He's going to have to learn this year how to get others open. So he's going to probably be handling the ball just as much as Jeremy Sohan will. And then what's nice about Vassell and Sohan playing as the primary guards is that they'll be able to defend against any point guard in the league at a very high rate. And what really helps about these guys playing guard positions is the pick and roll defense, which is one of the best offenses in the pick and roll offense is one of the most unstoppable things in the game. Having two lanky players playing these two guard positions allows them to switch. Switching on pick and roll is the easiest way to defend it, and there won't be a mismatch since both these guys can guard the 1 through the 4 at both high rates. So I like that. I really do like that. Keldon Johnson playing our 3. He's 6'5" as well. I think his numbers are going to go down this season. He was the number 1 option last year, and Vassell didn't play at all last year. He did, but he got hurt really early in the season and didn't play the rest of it. I think his efficiency will increase since I don't think he's going to be playing, I don't think he's going to be forced to be shooting as much as he did. He's an efficient shooter, but not he's not known for his jump shot. He's going to be probably playing a little bit more inside the paint. He's a big body type player. That's literally his nickname around San Antonio is big body. So it's going to definitely allow him to be that big body type player, get into the paint, get boards, get fouls, be aggressive. But I don't want his aggressiveness to be sidelined this year because of Wembanyama. Because Wembanyama is definitely getting the starlight right now. So Keldon, I hope he doesn't get pushed to the side, and I hope he doesn't get discouraged. But I think Keldon will have a nice year. He should be the number 2 option in my opinion out of these guys. So, and then our power forward is, it's Victor, 7'4", freak of nature. If you've watched any of the preseason, if you've even been on Instagram or anything on ESPN, he is all over it. If it's not Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, it's Victor Wembanyama. He's a freak. I don't really have much to say about him. He does everything. He led the preseason blocks per game. So, like I said, I think his defensive capabilities would be a first overall pick anyways without his offense, but his offense is even better than his defense in my opinion. Or his offensive ceiling's better than his defensive ceiling. So, but his defensive floor right now is higher than his offensive floor. So yeah, he's gonna have a really nice rookie season. Rookie of the year is gonna definitely be tough though. He's playing against Chet, Scoot, the Thompson twins. And then I don't know. We're probably gonna see some breakout rookies. It happens every year, like Benedict Mathurin at the Pacers. And then our center is going to be Zach Collins, 6'11". I'm really happy with this preseason play. I'm glad that he's fully healthy now. You can tell that he's been hurt over the past couple seasons. When he was at Portland, got hurt, and when he came over to San Antonio, he wasn't fully healthy. He's been so physical and so aggressive, offensively and defensively. His efficiency is gonna go way, way up. What really should help him defensively is Victor being there. Victor's gonna be more of a paint presence. Zach Collins is probably gonna be more of a rebounder, and just be more of a contest type player. So, I mean, when you have a 7'4" demigod who blocks everything with a 8-foot wingspan, there's not much you really have to do in the paint other than contest and get a board. And that's what Zach Collins does really, really well. So I really like him right now. And with his preseason play, I was super happy and super excited. So what's about to happen this year? I just hope he stays healthy. That's the one thing I need out of him. This whole squad will be really nice, this starting lineup. Got Trey Jones coming off the bench. I just hope he has a little bit more confidence in shooting. He's a very, very good playmaker who limits turnovers. That's going to be our whole thing this year is Spurs. There's two things we need to do this year. Limit turnovers and get fast break points. We're all young. We can all move the floor very well. But if we get a little out of hand, we can turn the ball over. And that's what happened in preseason a lot, was turnovers, because we get a little too excited. So if we can slow down, play at our pace, but make sure we score when capable in transition. When Binyama pushes the floor, Keldon Johnson pushes it, Sohan pushes it, Vassell pushes it, Zach Collins not so much, but he is a physical player. And so I'm really happy with this whole squad. I'm going to go into this next segment. I'm going to talk about how I'm going to grade how I think a couple of these four teams, how their season is going to end up. From at like an A to an F scale. I'm going to start with the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are very interesting. I do expect them to be good. Sign Marcus Smart. They don't have Dillon Brooks anymore. Which I don't know if that's going to be a plus or a minus. I think it's a plus. Desmond Bane's coming to his own as a scorer. He was very, very, very good in the preseason. We're going to see how that translates to the actual season. Jaren Jackson Jr. needs to stay healthy. He needs to play games. Last year he won Defensive Player of the Year, but in my opinion, he needs to play more games. And then John Morant, he needs to stay out of trouble. I mean, that's what it is. He's still going to be coming off a 25-game suspension without pay. So we're going to see how that, hurts him coming into when he comes back. So definitely, I think they're gonna be around a B. They're gonna make the playoffs. I don't think they'll be maybe playing, but I could see them making it into the playoffs as a playoff hopeful type team. I'm gonna move on to the East. I'm gonna go West East. This next team I have is the Hawks. I don't know, man. This whole Hawks squad has not been. They haven't been it. Ever since that run against the Knicks a couple years ago, like, fuck Trae Young, that one. They haven't been the same. They gained Sadiq Bey, but they did lose John Collins. He's been a very valuable piece for them. And just this DeJounte Murray, Trae Young fit is not really coming out to what we thought it would be. We thought it would be, these guys, DeJounte Murray, he's a lanky guard who is not really much of a scorer and more of a defensive type piece. Then you have Trae Young, who doesn't play defense and is a scorer and a passer. But they haven't produced. So I just don't see them being any better than last year. They made play-in last year, but play-in's not the most difficult thing to get into. I see them being around that C margin, maybe D. I don't have any high hopes for the Hawks.
maybe Trae Young can prove me wrong again, like he proved me wrong when he got drafted. But I don't know. I don't like the Hawks. I don't like their whole squad that they've got. Not hopeful for them. I'm gonna move on to the Utah Jazz. They're actually the team who got John Collins. I like their squad. It's an interesting one. It's gonna depend on how much Lauri Markkanen can produce. If he can do what he did last year, they should be able to be a talented team. Now, not like a Western Conference final team, or like a semifinals type team, but I can see them being a plus 500 type team. Walker Kessler's been amazing. John Collins should be a nice fit. Lauri Markkanen, Jordan Clarkson, and they drafted Keontae George out of Baylor, who I'm really high on. They have Colin Sexton. I mean, they have a lot of pieces that could make them really good. Just need to stay out of injuries and hope Lauri Markkanen can be that all-star starter like he was last year. I mean, dude went to the military and came back, so he should be a dog, in my opinion. The Brooklyn Nets is my next team. I think the Brooklyn Nets are gonna have a great year. I really do. What they got out of Kyrie, I mean, they got Dorian Finney-Smith, who's a great defensive piece. Got some draft picks. I mean, Ben Simmons, if he could play like he was in preseason, they'll be successful. Jacques Vaughn is a great coach. I mean, he's been doing really well over there. Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson. If Cam Thomas needs more freaking minutes, Nick Claxton's finally stepping up. You're seeing a lot of these young guys on this Brooklyn team, and I think they're gonna have a good run in playoffs. In my opinion, they're gonna be what we thought the Knicks were last year. So I think they'll be they're not gonna be a title contender, but they're gonna be a playoff runner. So I'm gonna put them at the A grade. And I really like Mikal Bridges. So, in my opinion, he should have won the Defensive Player of the Year over Marcus Smart, but that's a whole nother argument. But yeah, that's everything I wanted to talk about. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I put a lot of work into it. Wrote a whole script for it. Hopefully it sounded a little bit better than the last couple ones. I appreciate y'all. And I'll see you next week.